25 drivers, 16 nationalities, 3 champions, 1 champ. Road to Indy TV.
Everyone, welcome to Road America. On behalf of Cooper Tires, Anderson Promotions, drivers, start your elite engines.
So there you go, folks, the call to fire. Steve Knapp, lighten them up. Engines firing here on pit lane. It's time to go racing with USF 2000.
Thank you, Rob. It's going to be a fantastic race weekend here for the Rev Group Grand Prix of Road America, presented by AMR, the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship, with elite engines on board. And we've got plenty of racing action for you throughout the afternoon here at Road America. This is our first race of the afternoon. We'll go to Indy Pro 2000 next at about 12:55 this afternoon. Indy Lights at 1:50, and then qualifying for the NTT IndyCar Series yet to come your way this afternoon from America's National Park of Speed. Just a few quick touch point announcements for you. Don't forget the Battery Tender Global Mazda MX-5 Cup Drivers autograph session from 1 o'clock to 1:30 just across from Victory Lane, just across the Starters Bridge. And also David Hobbs and Bert Levy in the Paddock Shop signing autographs with their books available on sale as well at the Paddock Shop right now. So autographs for Battery Tender Global Mazda MX-5 Cup Drivers at 1 o'clock right across from Victory Circle. David Hobbs, Bert Levy. Books are available at the Paddock Shop, and they'll be signing autographs and signing your books throughout the middle part of this afternoon, just past the noon hour here, as we get set to go racing for the Road to Indy with the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship. Again, Colin Kaminsky, the number 23 machine, on the pole. Alex Barron residing in Port Washington, Wisconsin, will start outside. Mcelroy in the 22, Keene in the 2, Silliman in the 12, Shields in the 73. Lots of different laps that we saw in Q1 on about a qualifying session about this time yesterday, and qualifying this morning, Q2 for race number 2 for tomorrow. That grid is going to be shaped quite considerably different than it is today. But Braden Eves going to have a hard road to hoe, coming from the 8th spot in that number 8 machine. Not a starting position that he was looking for, but he'll have to work some traffic to try to get up front to try to win this one with the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship and the Road to Indy here from Road America. The Cooper Tires Grand Prix of Road America, powered by Elite Engines. We have some special guests as well on our flag station, waiting for these drivers to come around. I want to welcome Tony Singer, guest of Elite Engines. He'll be our honorary green flag starter for this Cooper Tires Grand Prix of Road America, powered by Elite Engines. Welcome to Tony Singer. So as the field starts to take shape behind the Mazda safety cars, working the backside of the racetrack, and I don't care what they say and who they say it about, the fastest man in sports is Rob Houghton. From the grid to the booth, 90 seconds.
And, well, I had a cart, and I was pressing the horn quite a bit, and everybody got out of my way, so I do appreciate that. Yeah, we made it.
The fastest seat in sports may be tomorrow morning before the NTT IndyCar Series, but you have the fastest golf cart, I think, here at Road America this weekend.
I had a golf cart. I know that a couple sections tomorrow I don't get the golf cart. It'll be busy at Victory Lane, so I'll be running. So that'll be interesting. But listen, 18 drivers set to go. So many of them, this really is only their 4th session on this track, Eric. That's the key thing. They got the practice session on Friday. They've had a couple of qualifying runs. They really don't know how to race this track yet. I think that's one of the key points to bring up. They haven't found out where the big overtakes are, how to defend. This is going to be really interesting. This first lap will obviously be a little crazy.
Well, we've certainly got a lot of laps around Road America this weekend so far with the practice sessions and certainly the qualifying session, but this is really the first session in anger for some of these young
This is it, yeah. And again, that's, that their spotters, their teams are going to be on the radio, calming them down a little bit. They've talked about which drivers are around them on the grid, trying to potentially go through some of the characteristics, the driving styles of those who they'll be wheel to wheel with, because as you know, if any of fans here before have watched the Road to Indy race, these cars are a little smaller than the Indy cars. We're going to see 2, 3, maybe 4 wide coming down into turn number 1. It'll be 2 wide into 3. It'll be 4 wide or 3 wide into 5. This opening lap, you talked about it, Eric, in qualifying. talking about the chaos that can happen midway through the pack. If you want to qualify up front to stay away from that potential chaos, say row 4 and back.
And we were talking about Braden Eves qualifying 8th, not exactly where he wants to be at the start of this race number 1.
Here they come, though, at turn number 14, ladies and gentlemen, the first of 6 Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tire events here at Road America this weekend. They will climb that hill, a very unique start here as they get ready to roll up. They can't even see the start. They'll rely on the spotters telling the checker, or rather the green flags flying. We are getting set to go right now. We have one of our guests up on the stand to throw that green, and we are looking for it here, and indeed we're underway. Green, green, green. First race with Road to Indy. Great start for Colin Kaminsky. He'll jump out into the P1 position from the pole, but always tough to defend. Big run down. Look at, we are 2-3 wide indeed. Can we get through turn 1 cleanly? Drivers being smart so far. Turn 1. Tough corner, very quick coming through. They'll come under the Briggs and Stratton Bridge down to turn number 3. The Kink turn 2 down to turn number 3. 3-driver breakaway early. Hunter Mcelroy slots in to that second position. Driver slowing further back. Not quite sure which driver that is. 27 potentially of Matt Round Garrido. We'll try to figure out who that is. That actually might be the number 2. Is that the 2 of Darren Keene? Not quite sure. We'll update that, folks. Could be Darren Keene.
Puff of smoke coming out of the back as well. That car
that's not Keene. So we're going to keep an eye on things, folks. We're just trying to watch our live timing. We have a particular screen that shows us the cars moving around the actual track itself. There's a lot of the ways we're able to pick up if the driver is stranded somewhere. We'll try to give you the update when they come back around again. Again, up through turn 5. Here they come down into turn number 8 for the first time. Again, a good start there for Kaminsky. McElroy second. Looks to be like Manuel Suleiman slotted into the 3rd position. A driver coming back. I think that's Darren Keene in the number 2. He started in the 4th spot. Keene had some issues. Not sure what happened in 1. But he is well off the pace. Well, not off the pace, but at least only right now coming through turns number 6. And look, it looks like he and the number 14, Alex Barron, potentially getting together. Alex Barron, they're both well off behind based on what we have on our screen here. First time down into the kettle bottoms, this is when they really start getting at it. It's a tough part of the racetrack, Eric, because it's a straightaway. You're on full throttle, but the way it kind of twists back and forth, you're coming from side to side of the racetrack.
It's typically what we call a Wisconsin straightaway. It has several curves in the middle of the road.
Okay.
But it's unique in the fact that you are flat out, even though you are just making a slight correction to the car to go through that. That corner set, what we call the Kink through 11 and then kettle bottoms, but certainly a battle up front right now as well.
So they're coming through now, and just looking at our screen here, it looks to me potentially like the number 2's further back and the number 14's further back. I'm going to try to pick up both Darren Keene and Alex Barron. I got to believe that they probably got together coming through turn number 1 because they were well off the pace coming down. We saw one driver slowing into 2 and 3. Kaminsky with the lead, though, now. He jumps out front. Hunter Mcelroy sits second. That, of course, that's when they cross the line. Then Christian Rasmussen in the 3rd spot. Manuel Suleiman 4th. Cameron Shields up to 5th. Braden Eves in 6th spot. Barrichello 7th. Sundarmurthy in 8th. Crawford 9th. And Tomaselli now 10th.
So Keene was, in fact, dropped back to 16th. He was slow at the start, but Round Garrido still has not come around, and Alex Barron on pit lane.
Yeah, trying to see if there's any damage to the car of Alex Barron. He'll come to the attention of his crew down here on pit lane, so now they wanted to start there for Legacy Autosport. Barron down in P18, Keene back up, but again, he's well back, 26 seconds behind the next group. He'll need a full course yellow to get himself back in the fight, so Darren Keene was looking to come in here to try to score that first win. Came off a pretty good couple of runs at the IndyCar GP weekend, the road course event at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and then had a decent run, a top 10 run as well on the oval at Lucas Oil Raceway. Came in 3rd in points, but I'm going to say, just obviously a guess, but the 2 drivers, they started side by side, likely contact over in turn number 1. Kaminsky had the lead last time by. I want to get a look to see if it's still Kaminsky. It is, yeah. Then the Soul Red Mazda of the scholarship winner, Hunter Mcelroy from New Zealand, running in 2nd. I talked to Hunter during the Indy Lights qualifying session on IndyCar Radio and asked him, listen, you know what? You came in here, you've had some good runs, but you haven't won yet. How much pressure are you putting on yourself to get that first victory? And his comment was really interesting. Number 1, he said, likely too much. And I think when you think about a championship battle, you don't need to keep winning. You need good finishes. So likely too much was his call. He said it's the longest he's gone without a race win. He's tucking now into the back, the draft of his teammate Colin Kaminsky. They're going to make that run down into turn number 1. We see him try to potentially tuck in for the pass down into turn number 1 here. He does. He's through. New leader, Hunter Mcelroy, has taken the lead away from Colin Kaminsky. But let's just say this, Eric, they have pulled away to a 1-second lead. It's a couple of teammates starting up front like that in first and third, nose to tail at the start. They sat down in the trailer and said, let's just pull away from the field and get a 2-driver race.
A little bit of a plan of attack. Now it's just a matter of battling it out amongst yourselves, which is obviously the goal for this weekend. But Rasmussen currently in the 3rd spot, Suleiman 4th, Shields running 5th, Eves currently 6th, Barrichello 7th.
Well, the crazy thing here too is you had to think they were going to sit down. They're like, okay, we've got you and I on the inside, 1st and 3rd. You've got Barrett and Keane on the outside, 2nd and 4th. These are the guys we're going to be battling with, right? Obviously Keane and Barrett get together. So the 2 primary guys that were right around them at the start, they're the ones that have had the issues. Christian Rasmussen moving in the Jay Howard driver development machine. He's able to get by Suleiman. So put Rasmussen now up into the 3rd spot. Suleiman back to 4th. Cameron Shields 5th. He's got Braden Eves right on the rear deck. Indeed, yeah, coming through the carousel. The white and orange car for Newman Walks, and the primarily white with a bit of black car for Braden Eves in the 8-ball. Number 8 machine for Cape Motorsports. Field settling in for what looks to be a pretty good battle. We got the 2 teammates as well from Pabst Racing, just like Kaminsky and McElroy up front. You've got Sundar Amurthy and Tomaselli, the other 2 drivers of the foursome. The quartet, Pabst running 8th and 9th. Those would be good finishes for both of those drivers. Jack Crawford now up into the 10th position. Reese Gold runs 11th. Jack Miller in 12th. Famularo 13th. Siegel 14th. Bogle 15th. Keane just turned fast lap of the race at 2:11.204. He's back, as we said, in 16th, 22 seconds back, but lots of time still to go, and he is trying to see if he can't get back forward here.
Plenty of time in this one, obviously over about 10 laps to go or so roughly, but all it's going to take is for someone to make a mistake. You get a yellow and he gets right back into it, staying on the lead lap. Alex Barron looks like back on course as well, underneath the Corvette bridge up into turn 6.
Here's the 2 drivers from Pabst side by side through turn number 1. Tomaselli looked to the inside of Sundar Amurthy. They'll go side by side coming down the hill again. Not sure if she got by or not, but they're battling it out there as well with Jack Crawford in that blue and white D-Force Racing entry. So Crawford puts himself, I think he's up to 9th, either Sundar Amurthy or Tomaselli gets shuffled down to 10th. Famularo coming in. Famularo in the number 28 machine for BN Racing. Anthony Famularo started in the 17th position. He'll come to pit lane as well, so that'll move Darren Keane up another spot. Keane again trying to see if he can salvage some points here. It's been a rough season for Keane. They had a bit of a transponder issue in the opening race. At St. Petersburg, he had the pace to qualify on pole, but no transponder, so he wasn't able to get a time in. They finally got him in, and I think he was able to get 1 timeout once they got it fixed. So he had to start at the tail of the field, even though he's the fastest driver. Worked his way up to the top 10, led essentially the entire race 2 at St. Petersburg, then just got a little tight on the kind of a defensive line in the final corner. Rasmussen was putting the pressure on him, and he looped the car around, he and Rasmussen getting together. Keane coming back with a couple of good finishes at the IndyCar road course event at IMS, but he needs a big win. That's what he needs. He needs to get that monkey off the shoulder, get that win, and move forward. McElroy still your leader. Kaminsky runs in 2nd. Rasmussen 3rd. Suleiman 4th. Shields, Eves, and Barrichello. That's 5th, 6th, and 7th. Again, Darren Keane, where is he now? We'll see when he comes back around. I think he's still probably about another 15 or 16 seconds behind Christian Bogle. When we saw him come back in turn number 1, turn 2, it's like he might have got shuffled off the racetrack, potentially into the gravel a bit, because it looked like there was some smoke or dust, and then able to get, of course, the tires cleaned back off. Obviously no issues at all for the car of Darren Keane. It's down to a 211 flat. Leader just did a 210.8 to go quick, so he's got the speed. So So does Matt Round-Garrido, the number 27. He did a 2:11 flat as well. Matt Round-Garrido running for BN Racing this weekend. Keane, another fast lap. 2:10.7, about a 10th quicker than the leader. So that's something he'll have to hold on to wherever he finishes here. 8 laps still to go. He's got to say to himself, we have a car that can come back and win tomorrow.
Interesting to note, looking at timing and scoring, Matthew Round-Garrido listed in 16th, and transponder may not be working, showing that he's actually in a yellow position. He's on the race course. We've seen him go by a few times now, completing 4 laps as well for Garrido. So evidently something amiss with our tracking device on the 27 machine.
He's with Keane. I think that both of those drivers are running together, trying to come back up through the field, and that would be good for both of them. Obviously, Round-Garrido with a chance to stay in the draft of Darren Keane. They currently run 15th and 16th. We'll continue to watch that. Hunter Mcelroy looking for that first win, though, as I said, was not able to score the wins despite being very quick on the streets of St. Petersburg. Had a really good run. He battled for the lead. He was another double podium finisher. 4 podiums to start the season at the road course race in Indianapolis. Actually tagged the wall on his first lap of qualifying on the oval at Lucas Oil Raceway for the Freedom 75, and that really hurt him. Put him further back in the pack at the very tail of the field, and that's tough to come through a field like that racetrack. Unless you have the car working perfectly on the bottom part of the racetrack, it's just hard to move forward. So didn't get the result he needed there, but a win would definitely put him back in the fight, even though Braden Eves, with 4 straight wins to start the season, has a pretty comfortable lead early. Eves currently running in 5th. Cameron Shields has gone to 4th. They've been able to get by Rasmussen to put Cameron Shields up into 4th position, but here goes, I believe, Eves coming to the inside. Braden Eves, I think, making a move to the inside of Cameron Shields coming up here. They're both closing on Suleiman. Not quite enough for Eves, and this is where Braden Eves needs to kind of relax a bit. He's got that massive point lead, right? So there's no real need for him to really get aggressive. You don't want to take yourself out here now. A 40-something point lead, 41 points or 42 points, I believe, the lead. Relax. Top 5 will work, right? As they stand right now, even if he finishes in the 5th position, he's still going to have a massive lead of about 26 points. And that's key. Manage your position in the championship. If you don't have the best car, don't throw it away. That's Cameron Shields. He's been able to get by Suleiman. He'll defend him coming up the hill to turn number 6. Shields goes to P3.
Shields with a nice job holding that really defensive line straight up the middle of the hill. Wasn't allowing Eves to get, or Suleiman rather, to get back to the left or back to the right. But a nice job there staying in 3rd.
Here they come down to turn number 8 as well. Now Braden Eves is going to go to work on Suleiman. But that was just a good pass under the braking into turn number 5 for the Aussie. Cameron Shields goes into P3, comes out of the corner. He makes the first move all the way back across to the racetrack. They'll work their way now through the carousel. It looks to me like Shields pulling about 2 or 3 car lengths as they come through that very crucial and challenging part of this racetrack. That right-hand, essentially constant radius carousel. Downhill run, which really, as Eric has detailed a couple of times, part of that crucial run from 8 all the way over to Canada Corner.
And it falls away on you. It's just slightly off camber, so it feels like you're just chasing the car, just to unwind it, to open your hands up a little bit on exit.
I agree with that. That's it's a tough part of the racetrack, and there's the battle you're seeing coming up out of Canada Corner and through Billy Mitchell Bend. That is now Suleiman under pressure from Braden Eves. That's the fight now for 4th position. Here come your leaders back up the hill. Great lead here for Mcelroy. Kaminsky running 2nd. 3rd is Shields. 4th, Suleiman. 5th, here comes Braden Eves. How close is he as they come up the hill? Start finish, within a length. He's going to go to the outside. He makes the move to the outside. Suleiman keeping that blue car to the inside. It'll be Eves to the outside. Did he get it done coming into the braking zone? He does.
Closes the door. Nice job to the outside.
Yeah, great pass. There's another pass further back. I want to say, let's pick that up. That's potentially, I think that was Bogle going at it with maybe Siegel. No, I'm not sure. We'll pick that up. That looked to be like potentially a D-Force car. Reese Gold's having a fight with Jack Miller and Yuvan Sundaramurthy as well. Now we got some really strong racing. 2 wide on different parts of the grid all the way back. Coming through turns 3 over to turn 5. Here's the fight down again. There's that gap between now 3rd and 4th. There's 5th, 6th, and 7th right there. That's Rasmussen and Tomaselli. Look at this battle. 5 drivers going at it. I want to say that's Crawford, Barrichello, Sundaramurthy, and Reese Gold. That is 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th.
Leaders working into the carousel underneath the quad bridge. Into what we call Speedville. 9 and 10 here at the carousel. Leaders now working the backside of the racetrack on the exit to 10.
6 down, 6 to go. Right at the halfway point of it is a 12-lap race, a long lap here, of course, over 4 miles at Road America. We don't normally run just 12 laps, but it's more on distance. 12 laps or 40 minutes is the maximum time slot that we get for USF 2000. Hunter McElroy, as I said, maybe foreshadowing a little bit in the interview we did on IndyCar Radio about the fact that he has been really pushing himself to try to get the victory, and maybe just relaxing and letting it happen a little bit, trusting in the process, trusting in his Pabst Racing team. And that squad currently running first and second. McElroy leads, Kaminsky in second. Go back as well to Bruno Tomaselli in 7th and Yuven Sundaramurthy in 10th. All 4 of the Pabst cars within the top 10 now.
McElroy still putting a little bit of distance on, nearly 2 seconds now over Colin Kaminsky. Kaminsky about another 2 seconds back to Shields. Again, kind of minding the gap right now for Kaminsky, holding station in the 2 spot.
Same goes with the gap between Shields and Eves, about a little over a half second, about 0.6 of a second last time by Eves, quicker by about a 1/10. So at this point, Braden Eves still pushing. He is again the point leader, adding a bit to it this time. 32 points would be the lead if he finishes in 4th, and Hunter McElroy into that P1 position. Further down, Darren Keene would fall. He's in the 15th position right now. Christian Bogle able to get by him. And looking at the lap times, we're going to try to see if... No, that's right. It was Ron Garrido was right behind Keene. Keene now to within 10 seconds of Bogle, faster by about 3 seconds last time by. You know what? Keene may be able to get another spot, but as it stands now, as they run, he would be significantly behind, almost, I would say about 70, 80 points actually behind Braden Eves.
Side-by-side battle out of the turn 6 complex. I believe that might be Siegel.
Here's this great fight further back. Those 4 drivers going at it. Yeah, I think that's probably Siegel. No, that might have been, is that Barrichello coming through? Hard to pick up some of the cars here with the vantage points we have and some of these lockdown cameras. McElroy still turning really good lap times, mid-210s. Everybody else behind him, 211s. He's just knocking them out. And that's one of the things he and I talked about as well about qualifying. I asked him whether his race car was good. Because anybody, you can go out there and do what you got to do to put that one big lap down. And what he said was, as he was getting his fast lap in qualifying, every lap was just a little bit better, and the balance just felt so good. And he's got that going now. He's got the consistency of mid-210s, which is key in pulling away as a leader. You don't want to have any ups and downs. You want to hit that good pace, settle into the groove. 5 laps to go now. In fact, I think it'll be 4 when they come back around. Indeed, 4 laps to go for McElroy. I like this battle coming up the hill right now. I want to see who that is. Let's pick that up. Here they come across the line. That's the 27 kicking things off.
That was Barrichello coming through in 6.
Okay, so I wonder whether or not Matt Brown Garrido, we've got him down here. Remember you said he had a transponder issue? He's ahead of those drivers. That's the transponder issue. So Keene is, I think, is still by himself on the racetrack. Brown Garrido, I think, is further forward. He's in the 27. Now he's battling it out in that battle with Reese Gold, I think, as well. That's interesting. Okay, so a little bit mixed up there with the 27. We'll try to give you a better update on Matt Brown Garrido because I don't think he's actually where he is on the timesheets.
As Barrichello just got around Reese Gold in turn 6, the lap prior, and now battling with Crawford in the 52 machine for that 8th and 9th spot.
We'll go visual on that for Matt Brown Garrido. Those of you potentially listening to his progress and watching this coverage over in England. Look at that's the lead right there, though, for Hunter McElroy, the Kiwi, out front of his teammate Kaminsky. Braden Eves continues to chip away. Both drivers turning 211s, he and Cameron Shields. Shields, of course, the win at the Oval. They're picking it up there.
Yeah, it looks like Barrichello's dropped a spot potentially here.
We'll give you an update. When they come back across the line, we're going to try to find out where Matt Brown Garrido in the 27 is actually slotting in to give you a better indication of where things are. Darren Keene continues to try to close here on Christian Bogle. 4 laps remaining. It'll be 3 to go next time by. Here's a tremendous battle down there coming over to Canada corner. So we pick that up as they work their way into the corner. Here indeed it is a defensive run on the inside. I think that could be Rasmussen trying to hold off Tomaselli. Yeah, that's that battle. That's Christian. Look at Tomaselli trying the outside. Bruna Tomaselli, that's the fight for 6th and 7th. Here come your leaders. Let's pick up Matt Rangarito as they come through here. Hunter McElroy come across the line in front of us, looking good there on the Mazda machine. That's P1. Kaminsky in 2nd. 3rd is Shields. 4th, Eves. 5th is Suleiman. Next group coming up the hill here. Try to find the 27 of Matt Rangarito. There's Gold. There's 40, 41, 36. Siegel just came by in 13th.
Car in pit lane as well.
Oh, we got a driver in pit lane, as you said. We'll pick up who that is. That's actually Matt Rangarito.
Well, we found him.
We're trying to pick him up for those following Matthew, and he is out in the pit lane. So put Darren Keene now up into the 15th spot. He's about 7.8 seconds behind Christian Bogle now, 3 seconds quicker a lap. He's trying to eat in here with just 3 laps to go. Chance for him to potentially get another spot. So again, 3 to go, and it's a 3-second lead for Hunter McElroy. Very impressive up front here. Again, good run for this young Kiwi driver, trying to get that first victory. And this is something, folks, I know you've watched this. If you're a racing fan and you followed the road to Indy at all, anytime a young driver breaks through and gets that first victory, we can see more of them coming. So, of course, think about this. Hunter McElroy for Pabst Racing qualified P3 for race number 1. Only his 2nd session on this racetrack. Practice, qualifying 1, he qualified 3rd. His 3rd session on the racetrack, qualifies P1, 4th session this race. He's now leading by over 3 seconds. He starts pole tomorrow. This could be one of those weekends where you get a double race win and you come out with a ton of momentum. Now, we've had some gaps. We had the first race in St. Petersburg. These drivers weren't back on track until 2 months later in the middle of May. Not so much of a gap now. We go back in just 3 weeks' time to the streets of Toronto. 14 of Alex Barron back in the pit lane and back out. He's been turning laps, but back in again. But again, this is the thing about Hunter McElroy. If he gets on a run, starts getting the confidence, he gets that connection, he could be somebody to take a run at Braden Eves.
Be the white silk next time by for Hunter McElroy.
Yeah, as they run on the racetrack now, the lead for Eves in the points would be cut down to 28 markers, just 28 points between 1st and 2nd. You look at it as well. Colin Kaminsky then would jump up into 3rd as they run. Manuel Suleiman would go to 4th. I believe Cameron Shields to 5th. And that would drop Darren Keene down to 6th. He'll be looking for a recovery tomorrow as well. Those of you guys who are around the racetrack, enjoy yourself. Have a cold beer, whatever it may be. Nice cocktail for a great racing. We got more to come for you. We're going right into the Indy Pro 2000 event as well. We'll be right into the introductions for Indy Pro and those 13 drivers getting set to roll at it. It's going to be a fantastic race. Parker Thompson starting on the pole position of the first of 2 Indy Pro 2000 races. Our leader, Hunter McElroy, is going to see the white flag this next time by. We're knocking this one out nicely. The driver's doing a great job, and really, and Eric, we haven't really had a chance to talk about it, but this is what we want for these young drivers. We want a green to checker race. We want them to get max laps, all about development and getting the seat time they need. Tremendous run for Hunter McElroy. I know the family back in New Zealand will be just pumped for this one. In fact, the lower hemisphere doing pretty good. We got New Zealand and Australia potentially on the podium here as Cameron Shields trying to hold off Braden Eves. So McElroy
We're looking at a replay of contact. That's Barrichello going around.
Now that's Barrichello and Nolan Siegel.
Actually, that may be Miller in the 40.
Was that the 40?
That is the 40.
Yeah, that was Jack Miller probably trying to make a move to the inside. Contact made coming through the corner there. So that was a battle for 12th and 13th. Nolan Siegel and Jack Miller, as you said. Here comes the leaders up the hill. White flag flying, 1 to go for Hunter McElroy. He will not be able to say that he has yet won on the road to Indy, trying to get that first victory. Look at the battles we got going on here, though. This is tremendous to watch. Couple of fights. Eves is closed up to within 0.3 of a second. Just turned the fast lap. He's trying to go after Cameron Shields. You've got Bruno Tomaselli battling it out with Jack Crawford.
Tomaselli's actually charging Crawford into turn 1. A good battle there for the drag race down into turn 1.
Don't pick it up for you.
Don't think Crawford gave up the spot, but she was charging hard.
Coming back down the hill. There's the fight right there. That's the two drivers, the D-Force driver and one of the Pabst Racing entries. Again, there's further back. I think you're right. I think potentially, unless that was... I think potentially Tomaselli got by Crawford there, coming down into turn number 1 and 2. The Sundar Murthy's going at it with Reese Gold. Great wheel-to-wheel racing, a bunch of two-driver battles here, them squaring off on the final circuit. Let's see as they come back around. Still about a 4-second lead now for Hunter McElroy, but I think we may have a battle for the final position on the podium as well. As Braden Eves trying to go after Cameron Shields.
Hunter McElroy going to come around to try to see that checkered flag from John Scardina, guest of Elite Engines, our guest checkered flag for this afternoon.
Check this out, though. They're actually closing up a little bit here as well on second place running Kaminsky. Last time by, Shields was quicker by about 0.4 of a second. He's only a second back right now.
Local yellow in turn 12 for a car in the gravel. I believe that is the 6 machine.
Of Rasmussen. Remember, he was running up there in the 6th position, so he goes in the gravel. This is the final circuit, though, for Hunter McElroy. Here's, I think, a replay of the incident we're talking about.
Under braking and got punted.
That was, I think, Crawford getting into the back of, yeah, they're not going to like that one. Crawford into the back under braking. But here come the leaders up the hill. Let's cap this one off. We'll go back to that in a second. Coming up the hill out of turn number 10, 11, 12, and 13, your leader coming up the hill. Ladies and gentlemen, he is no longer one of the drivers who cannot say that he has a road to Indy victory, because the winner today at Road America and USF 2000, Hunter McElroy, getting the win. McElroy winning by 3.5 seconds. Cameron Shields for Newman Walks Racing coming into third. Colin Kaminsky, another podium, his second straight podium. Third at the Lucas Oil Raceway Freedom 75. He's second place here today. Cameron Shields heads up in third. Braden Eves in fourth. Manuel Suleiman in fifth spot. Bruno Tomaselli in sixth. Jack Crawford in seventh. The contact between he and Rasmussen in the braking zone of turn number 12, Canada corner. We saw that replay as he got into the back of Rasmussen and looped him around.
Let's take a look at that again, Rob, if we can.
It looks to me like, obviously, the run to the inside. Crawford's trying to make a move across.
Just before the contact, though, it looks like Crawford was on the binders and that car shuttled side to side. It looked like it may have locked up the rears a little bit and just had a little bit more momentum coming into 12.
That's a really good pickup because he's coming in there. Obviously, Rasmussen kind of the middle of the racetrack, and to the potentially more to the outside of the track is Crawford. Let's watch it coming in. Let's see if we can pick up that wiggle that Eric talked about. They're going to slow it. The car, you know what it is? He got on the brakes and then decided he was going to go to the inside, make the move. And I think if he got a little squirty, like you said, missed the braking, got into the gearbox, because that was just one of those straight gearbox touches where it just rotates Rasmussen's car in a counterclockwise direction. Boom, he's done.
That's hard contact for Rasmussen as well into the turn 12 barrier.
That's going to be right rear. That's going to be the rear wing. We saw the contact there hitting the barrier. That wasn't just a gravel trap run. That was a run into the concrete wall, dropping him out of what would have been a good sixth place. Tomaselli able to take advantage of that and get by Crawford up into turn number 1. You had mentioned the fact that she got a great run. So Tomaselli in 6th, Crawford in 7th, Sundar Murthy 8th, Reese Gold 9th, and Eduardo Barrichello rounding out the top 10. All that chaos brings Darren Keene back up to 12th. He gets another 3 or 4 points, so kind of limiting the damage for Darren Keene. But Hunter McElroy, folks, 3.5 seconds. He is your winner. Colin Kaminsky, you see it on the screen. Kaminsky second. Cameron Shields, another podium for him coming off that win at Lucas Oil Raceway. So Pabst Racing with a couple of podium drivers, first and second. Newman Walks Racing in third. Braden Eves, a good recovery after starting 8th. He ends up in 4th. Manuel Suleiman for D-Force Racing in 5th. Bruno Tomaselli 6th. Jack Crawford 7th. Yuvan Sundar Murthy in 8th. Reese Gold in 9th, and Eduardo Barrichello rounding out your top 10. Great racing up front for sure between the two Pabst drivers early, but this came down to Hunter McElroy just doing what he told me he could do, was turn consistent laps and be able to pull away.
It really lap 1 or 2. Once he got around Kaminsky, it was just head down, elbows up, and maintained about a 2 to 3 second lead throughout that entire session. At the end, it was 3.5 seconds gap back to Kaminsky. Another second and a half back to Shields. So an interesting finish there. Hunter McElroy really doing a nice job getting situated and making sure that he maintained the lead there. Rob, we'll send you back down to pit lane here shortly as well.
Real quick, though, we just got an update. I guess they've made an official call, a 30-second penalty for Jack Crawford with the contact with he and Rasmussen. Let's just look at the overall time. If we do that 30 seconds for Crawford, that's going to drop him 40. Yeah, he's going to go all the way back into the 15th position, so move everybody else back up a position. 30-second penalty for Jack Crawford for the contact going in to turn number 12. So tough one, of course, for Christian Rasmussen. A pretty stiff penalty for Crawford, but, man, that's contact in the final circuit.
You typically don't argue with race control in that one, and I don't think I would argue that one either. I mean, that was pretty significant contact with Rasmussen.
So here is Hunter McElroy coming into victory lane. Tremendous run for Hunter in the Mazda-sponsored car. Again, he won the scholarship last year. His first victory here in USF 2000. Tremendous run for Hunter McElroy as he wins over Colin Kaminsky. And, of course, coming home in third spot today, Cameron Shields.
It was probably one of the best races I've ever driven. I knew I had really good pace. All weekend we've been quickest, so it was just about getting to the front and pulling away. So me and Colin, we had pace over everyone else, and we worked together to get a gap. Then once we had a gap, I got in front of Colin, and the rest was history. So my Mazda USF 2000 was just absolutely beautiful. Paps Racing gave me probably one of the best handling cars I've ever had, and my Cooper tires held up the whole race. So just speechless right now, to be honest.
Now, was there any friendly battle between you and Colin out there?
Just the usual stuff. It was we're teammates, so we respect each other, and the last thing we want to do is end up in the grass. So, it was a little bit of a battle. It wasn't straightforward. We weren't waving each other by, but at the same time, we had big respect for each other. So, yeah, I'm like I said, I don't really know what to say. I'm just so speechless right now.
Congratulations.
Thank you.